Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our August Canyon Country Advisory Committee meeting. This facility is provided to the Canyon Country Advisory Committee as a public service by Mint Canyon Moose and its members. In the lodge, there's a kitchen and stage, a bar area, and an activities room. And some of you I know have partaken in Wednesday night pizza, where Buster makes a really great real pizza at a very reasonable price. This is almost a special meeting because it's the last meeting of this calendar year, and next month, it's September, we'll be celebrating our 1-year anniversary here, meeting at Mint Canyon Moose. Tonight's meeting agenda, we'll start off with a flag salute, announcements, minutes of the last meeting. Then we're going to have as our guest Josh Mann, Manager of Business Retention and Marketing of the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, tell us about the activities that they perform on our behalf. After that, something I think that is near and dear, at least to my heart, and I know to many of you, SCV Homes for Heroes. Joyce Greer, the Community Outreach Director, is here to tell us about their activities and how they're helping our local vets. Next, we're going to talk about a project that's happening at Golden Valley Road and Sierra Highway. I received a call from some of the residents up there and asked me to do some research for them. And I think it typifies some of the problems that we're seeing around the city. So I'd like to discuss that as well. You might have, if you are on the list for the No Mercy Hills Homeowners or Neighborhood Watch, you will see that coyote sightings are starting to be increasing a problem within the Santa Clarita Valley, especially when areas close to open space or close to access that is kept in its original state. So we did some research on that, and we'll discuss it also. I'll do a very fast update on Your Home is Flooded because, as you might have guessed, this is week 6 and we're not done. I know that surprises you, but so we'll just give you a really quick update, and then hopefully we'll conclude it next month. Then comes our version of public participation, where each member gets a minute and can speak about any subject that they want. Then a preview of the September meeting, and we will adjourn. Tonight I'd like to talk a little bit about Captain Jeremy Henwood. If any of you have been following the Signal, you'll have seen articles about this gentleman. Captain Jeremy Henwood was in the Marines for 15 years, first in active duty and then in the reserves. In February, he returned from his 3rd combat tour, which included 7 months leading 160 Marines in Afghanistan's northern Helmand province. He was a captain in the Marine Reserve Corps, assigned to Bravo Company in the Combat Logistics Battalion 2, based in North Carolina. During his last tour, he led an 11-mile-long convoy to bring supplies to a remote U.S. base and devised new tactics to escort Afghan government vehicles into hostile territory. His Marines survived improvised explosive devices and small arms attacks. Marine Major Ted Bonanno, a close friend, said Henwood was enormously proud that all of his Marines returned home alive. That was really all that mattered to him. His biggest regret that several were injured. Now, San Diego Police Department Officer Henwood, at age 36, died Sunday, August the 6th, 2011, hours after being shot in what police called an assassination while he sat in his patrol car at an intersection in City Heights. A 4-year veteran of the force, Officer Henwood worked the 2 p.m. to midnight shift out of the Mid-City Division, which covers a 15-mile swath of San Diego. A motorcade, including hundreds of law enforcement vehicles from throughout the state, set off around 8:30 a.m. from Qualcomm Stadium in Mission Valley and ended at Rosecrans Street Church. It took about a half an hour for the lead vehicles to reach the church. Those vehicles included a hearse carrying Henwood's body and a black limousine with his family inside. Vehicles in the motorcade were driven with red lights flashing and fire vehicles parked along the motorcade route were flanked by firefighters and paramedics who stood at attention and saluted as the motorcade passed by. The United States honor flag was flown to San Diego to be displayed besides Henwood throughout the memorial service. The significance of this flag is that it began with the September 11th attacks and has traveled around the country to pay tribute to fallen heroes. Jeremy Henwood has again shown us that there are heroes all around us and that evildoers may strike at any time in any location. With that being said, God bless our military men and women around the globe. God bless our law enforcement team, all working to keep us safe at home and abroad. And God bless Jeremy Henwood, a true American hero. And with that, I'd like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Hands over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I want to start off by showing you that we have some success. The Santa Clarita Community Council is now a California 501c3 corporation. As you remember, this is an umbrella organization that we are forming to provide chartered groups with like objectives the benefit of nonprofit status. There's a lot more work to be done. We have a lot more forms to fill out, and we have more things that we have to structure. But you can be sure that by next month we'll have that all taken care of, and we'll tell you more about it. At this month's Canyon Country Advisory Committee Board of Directors meeting, the board unanimously approved becoming the Santa Clarita Community Council's first chartered group, and we'll keep you informed about what's going on. The historical ordinance adoption is currently to be on the City Council agenda for August the 23rd. Had a gentleman who wanted to come and say a few words about it. He may not be here yet because it is another discussion of property rights here in Santa Clarita. Save Our Properties will be hosting a community meeting to discuss exactly what that code is all about. The meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August the 18th at 5:30 at the RAP Theater on Main Street in Newhall. The big issue about this is that opponents of the current ordinance, the way it's written, believe that you should have to opt in. So if you want to be designated as a piece of historical property, it should be your choice and not the city to dictate that information to you. We have a return to illegal sign enforcement. I was going to take a whole bunch of pictures of signs and come share it with you again, but as it turns out, and we're becoming a little bit overcome by events, illegal signs now are starting to procreate again in Canyon Country. I really think that, once one of them sits up there, they all get together in wherever signs go, and then we see more than one. So it's real interesting because in many cases it's the same people that got cited last time and the same signs that were up before. So it's just that the city sign sweep program is not keeping up. Now, at the same time, I was informed that there's a consortium of Canyon Country business owners. They're getting together and they're discussing exactly the same issues, and they're taking almost exactly the same pictures, and they're also very upset about shopping carts being left all around their business locations. So that discussion is in process, and they wanted to talk about partnering with the Canyon Country Advisory Committee in working that problem. George Thomas, who's heading that group, he owns Route 66, met with Paul Brotzman earlier this month, and we'll be meeting with Curtis Williams tomorrow, to discuss possible code enforcement action and see if we can get together. And now, not only will there be residents working this issue, but business owners as well. UDC changes. I'm almost beginning to think that we should have a remember what we were told before section of this meeting. Here, if we look at UDC changes, remember the UDC amendments that were proposed by us, particularly about grandfathering UDCs for mature neighborhoods. And we've been told for probably a year and a half, yes. Oh, that's a code. It's a city code. Could be building code, could be how tall your fence can be, whether you can have an air conditioner in a certain location, that kind of thing. So we've been told for a long time to wait for One Valley, One Vision to be approved, and then the city was going to go through a large amount of UDC changes, code changes. And now that OVOV had passed, I called into the city and I talked to Lisa Weber, and I said, okay, OVOV passed, now how do we input these changes to you? And now we're being told, we're being asked to wait until planning has had a chance to make the necessary changes and then provide for public input next spring. And I think we all know what that means. That means that they will decide what they want to do. They'll show it to us. They'll say, come on and talk to us for 15 minutes. Then they'll ignore what we said, and then we'll go on. We'll be right back where we were before. So I think in this case we need to be very proactive and understand from our membership if there are any code changes you would like to see implemented. Please email them to me, and we're going to start the discussion next month. We'll go resurrect the list that we had before, and we're going to go down to the city and say, hey, while you're updating for OVOV, how about let's see what you can do about these as well. The next activity that we're going to participate in as a group is the 17th Annual River Rally. It's going to be on September the 17th between 8 and 11 a.m. Location is Wiley Canyon Road off the Via Princesa Bridge, east of Orchard Village Road. We set up a booth. We talk to people about what the Canyon Country Advisory Committee does, try to get some more people signed up on our email list. So if you'd like to participate with us and talk to the public, sign up on our sign-up sheet, and we'll make sure to include you in that activity. One thing that the city is doing, I think that's excellent, is they are sponsoring a 4th annual food drive to benefit the Santa Clarita Valley Food Pantry. So during this entire month of August, residents are being invited to drop off non-perishable food items, and those items would be donated directly to the food pantry. So for more information on donation guidelines and where to donate, you can go to scvfoodpantry.org or contact Belinda Crawford at 255-9078. And this is a very, very worthwhile cause. Los Angeles Fire Department contacted me. I got an email from Stephanie English, and she told me about an activity to help families avoid tragedy. So on Saturday, August the 27th, there will be the community is invited to a pool safety expo and free family fun day. So they're going to be having all kinds of discussions about how to keep kids safe, and it says that there'll be ER doctors from Children's Hospital and Henry Mayo will be presenting, and there will be water games, free giveaways, food, raffle items, and a lot more. It's going to be at Fire Station 126 on August the 27th. So they wanted you to remember that children drown without a sound. Don't miss this opportunity to find out as much as you can about it. The Lyons Avenue Corridor Plan. This is an interesting thing. Michael, you're here, right? And Michael sent this to me because he got this in the mail. Now, of course, we didn't get it in the mail because we don't live on Lyons Avenue, right? And we've been doing some research into what that really is. And so I talked to Paul Brosman. Paul Brosman says this is another activity where we're going to update city codes and zoning to implement OVOV, the One Valley, One Vision plan. And those improvements would occur as changes are made to existing structures. So the corridor plan, as it stands, is not necessarily, or it wasn't supposed to be, an action plan. It's a planning, piece of planning information. And then I asked the question, I actually did it on the website, and said, well, wait a minute. If this is supposed to be a corridor plan for Santa Clarita, what about the rest of the corridors? Why are we only talking about Lyons Avenue? It's almost beginning to think that this is that Santa Clarita is becoming should be renamed to be Newhall, because that seems to be where all the money's going lately. So they did say that the completion of the effort on Lyons Avenue, then they would establish a similar activity on Sierra Highway, Soledad to COC. So they're only talking about from Soledad up in this direction, a very short way, and then on Soledad Canyon itself. And they weren't really sure exactly where that was going to be. But I spoke to both Paul and Lisa. I had a very nice conversation with them. I believe that they have all the greatest intentions in the world, but I know how this stuff works. It seems like it starts. They do part of the first one because that's the one that they have pressure, and then it goes away. So I asked Paul, please, can you come to the Canyon Country Advisory Committee? Can you provide us a presentation on what's going to happen? Can you give us a schedule about these kinds of things? And currently, they don't have a real schedule. And that seems ironic to me that this is the planning department that doesn't have a plan. But we'll find out. They were very acceptance. Yes.
I went to the. Okay. I live over. Is this working? Okay. As I often do. All right. I live over in Valencia Hills, and I went to the open house that they had over in Orchard Village on this, and I talked to several city employees, and it was surprising to me that they said that the reason they were doing this now was because development is down because of the economy, and they had the time. I don't know why they weren't laid off, being the good Republican administration that we have. So that's what several of the city employees did, is that, said to me, is that they were doing it because they had the time.
Well, if they have a lot of spare time, code enforcement could really use a hand. Carol, what do you have to say?
There's no money. It's just a dream and a wish. You know, there's nothing really except, wouldn't it be nice if Lyons would look like this?
Well, I understand that. I understand that. But then again, it only took 10 years to generate the OVOV plan. Let's see how long it takes for this one. And the OVOV plan, if you read the paper, the OVOV plan comes before the county in September. I thought it was very interesting about what they said, because this doesn't sound like what I heard when I went to the OVOV meeting. It says the planners from the city of Santa Clarita and the county decided to join forces in updating their planning books to create a more cohesive plan, one that has higher density in city limits and lower density in the unincorporated county area. Now, I distinctly heard them say that the actual number of residents is not going to change. The mix wasn't going to change. So if all of the new planned developments are higher density, how does that work? So there's something going on here, and I think maybe Tim Ben had it a lot better than some of the rest of them. So when we start thinking about what we've been told about things, do you remember when we were told that funding for the Highway 14 bridge would come from the Golden Valley Shopping Center and would be paid when they reached a certain occupancy level? Does everybody remember that? Yeah, you remember. I figured you would. You know. And that was what was holding up the bridge construction, right? They hadn't got the occupancy level. They haven't got that money in the Bridge and Thoroughfare District. But that's only partly true. It turns out that, remember we had Party Homes here last month? Well, I had another meeting with them and talked to them a little bit. Turns out that the Pardee Golden Valley project is also paying for part of that bridge. That their money is also going into the bridge and thoroughfare fees. So wouldn't it be nice if when we asked a question, we got the whole story instead of a piece of it? Do you remember when the city sponsored an LMD vote to combine all the center median LMDs? Remember that? Wasn't that, what, last year? 2 years ago. 2 years ago, right? Right? 2 years ago? Okay. And add new ones to offset city-funded maintenance. They were going to come up with a citywide drought-tolerant standard. When we were told that all the parkways and all the side panels are maintained by HOAs, they're not even a part of this discussion, right? And we had to wait till the new fees took effect before we would see what was going to happen. And that's pretty reasonable synopsis of what they said, wasn't it? Well, that's only partly true. Because now, currently, Michael also got information about a new landscape maintenance district that's being circulated to homeowners that tells a more complete story. As it turns out, I don't know, how many of you have gotten a notice about this? Oh, yeah, you guys would have, yeah. Okay. So some areas are being annexed into the new major thoroughfare median zone 2008. And in some cases, people are being asked to join this major thoroughfare zone 1 because the medians that are outside their locations were originally put in George Caravallo's plan, where he put in the city put in so many every year, and the city has been maintaining those. And as you recall, when we've had people before, they were maintaining them out of 2 different funds. I mean, they had to be separated for whatever reason. So the LMD guys, they took care of part of it, and Parks took care of the ones that were city financed. And but in this LMD issue, Michael got a one which was $58 per EDU, $58 per unit, and he has 1 unit, and that's because he's being annexed in to one that only takes care of medians. However, there's a little bit more to this story. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 other zones. And those improvements that they want to, I just happen to throw up one of them here. Probably I'll read it to you because I know it's hard to read. But I just happen to pick up the one that talks about Circle J. And why would I do that? Nobody wants to guess? Ken Polskamp lives in Circle J. The improvements include slopes, parkways, side panels, street trees, parks, ornamental structures, bus stop amenities in the right-of-way, and easements with and adjacent to the zone. Okay, so now all of a sudden, there are zones that will take care of, because we were told, no, we can't do that. But now it seems like there are more zones. And this is not, this, by the way, the other reason why I picked the Circle J zone is because this is one of the most expensive. Their fees that they will be paying is $693 per EDU per year. I think the only one that tops them is Northbridge at $778 per EDU. Think this isn't all about money? Add all these up, and we're talking a lot of money. We're talking over $5 million a year. So this is big bucks. Anyway, this is the assessment if you're in Zone 1 and you're only paying for medians. Now, the question I have is that when, on September the 13th, anybody that received one of these ballots must, by September the 13th, either mail in their yes, no, or take it to City Hall. And when they do that, depending upon the weighted vote, in other words, how much money each contributor contributes, gives them a certain level of vote. Because remember, a landscape maintenance district is a vote of property, not a vote of people. Okay, and if the number of ballots in opposition exceed the number of ballots in favor, then this whole thing goes down the drain. And you notice that there hasn't been a lot of outreach. There hasn't been anything in the paper. I haven't seen anything in the paper about this. Okay, and there's going to be one public meeting on September the 13th. Okay, and my question is everybody voting on one initiative? Is this another situation where we can have large developers throw large number of votes in one direction or another? And we don't know. So we'll do some more research. But thank you, Michael, because this really came up with a big issue. You want to give Michael a mic for a minute?
I just want to point out about the weighted part of the vote. Right now I'm paying $0. I'm going to go up to $60. In the Northbridge area, in order to, I think, get this to pass, people who are paying $392 will be reduced to $382. And their vote is, therefore, 6 or 7 times greater than my vote. So if I do believe that if we did the math on this, it would actually be impossible to vote against this and actually win, because it's a weighted vote. If everybody voted their pocketbook, there's no way that it can be turned back.
Yes, Carol.
And I think, the Canyon Country folks should be aware of this because it may happen to them, too. Not only that, they will say you're going to get a $10 reduction now, but the way it's written, you will have no power to stop any increase. Depending, I think it's on cost of living or some kind of formula, and you'll have no power to be able to stop that.
Yes.
That's another big thing about this, and the whole developer waiting thing is we're totally rigged, like we did with open space. That's exactly what they're doing.
Okay. Yes, and even if it passes, they can raise the fees per CPI each year. So this is about a lot of money. This brings a lot of money into the city, and also, to me, says the city is becoming a large homeowners association, and that's not what I thought the city was supposed to do. Lastly, I received this flyer just before the meeting. It says, "Attention all veterans, could you or a loved one qualify for an additional VA benefit?" And it's a real thing. The VA can tell you if you qualify, and will tell you how you qualify. This is for veterans that I believe served in foreign wars, and for their veteran or their spouse. And so I'll include this in the information that goes out, but if there's a phone number, so if you believe that you might be qualified for some additional benefits and money, then please call them and take advantage of what you deserve to be rewarded with. Attendance looks like it's kind of been bumping around the 40 mark. Looks like it's going to go up this month. I really appreciate that. And we're keeping track of our video status. We video all these meetings, and we send out these emails with the information about videos. And that May number, that big, tall spike up there, is still Dr. Dorio at 53 views. But all of our videos seem to end up being viewed more and even after the month concludes. So you can see in June, initially when we met at the meeting, looking at the May videos, they were less than 40 views, and now there's over 40 views. It's 44 actually. So we'll keep trying. Tell your friends and neighbors about these videos. If you can't make the meeting, look on the website, get on the email list, see if there's something that interests you, and take a look at it. And that way it benefits us all. Minutes of the last meeting. Meeting was called to order. Agenda was read. We had a tribute to Army Ranger Leroy Petrie. The flag salute was led by Tony Natoli. Announcements were provided. Minutes of the June CCAC meeting were read. An update on the Party Golden Valley project was provided by Tom Mitchell, Party's Director of Land Development. His party's intent to make this a gated community with trailhead access moved outside of the gated area to provide for public access. The project entrance will be located on Marcia McLean Parkway by Via Princessa, and now everybody knows where Marcia McLean Parkway is. Glo Donnelly, President of the CAG Board of Directors, provided a presentation on the Whitaker-Burmite Citizens Advisory Group. These Santa Clarita citizens are tasked with the oversight of toxic cleanup activities on the 996 acres in the center of our city. It's very worthwhile to make sure that occurs correctly. We had a return of Canyon Country Kudos, what to do about potholes, and a new program to urge cleanup of yard sale signs, and that was provided by our own Judy Tallur. And I had a discussion about what happens when you wake up, get out of bed, and step in a swimming pool, which used to be your bedroom. New business and public participation. Berta reminded us that we did not approve the minutes, and then spoke about the new Goodwill facility that is slated to go in on Soledad in Canyon Country. Lynn Planbeck discussed the $21 million Valencia, Bouquet, and Canyon Country Bridge and Thoroughfare loan to implement the 126 interchange needed to support Phase 2 of the Newhall Ranch project, asked if we were upset about it. Oh, hey, let me tell you what, we're being told that there's no money to build the bridge across the Highway 14 because our Bridge and Thoroughfare District doesn't have enough money, but we're going to lend money to build an interchange over the 126? I'm not only upset about it, but I think it's a ridiculous thing to do. August meeting preview, the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation was slated to be here, and they are. And we were going to try to get more information about the Cross Valley Connector East Side and the construction plan update, which we really didn't make, but the meeting was adjourned. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Yes, Berta.
On Marshall McLean, the L needs to be capitalized.
Okay, thank you. I want to give you a little process alert on, are there any other additions or corrections? All right, then the minutes stand approved as corrected. I want to give you a little process alert. On August the 3rd, the Canyon Country Advisory Committee Board voted to include the meeting minutes with the monthly meeting announcements, and at our meetings only ask for additions or corrections to the at this meeting. It seems that by sending out the agendas and then sending out the list of presentations and then come back here and repeating again, it's a little redundant. So we thought we'd send the information out. You can look at it, and if there's no violent objections, then we'll just ask for additions or corrections.